Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to sift through the noise and really get to the heart of what matters.
That's the goal.
And today it's a topic that's, well, literally hot sometimes, ductless heat pumps.
Right.
We're going to explore how these things can potentially change your home comfort, maybe save you some serious cash, and even do a bit for the planet.
Absolutely. We've got some great material from a local expert, Island Ductless Heat Pumps, to guide us.
Perfect. So let's unpack it. Technology, benefits, the whole deal.
Yeah, exactly. And just to quickly frame it, when we say ductless, what we really mean is super efficient heating and cooling without needing that traditional network of ducts running through your walls and ceilings.
Which can be leaky, right?
Often, yeah. Very often. So ductless offers this smart, adaptable way to control temperatures room by room or zone by zone. Less waste, more flexibility.
Okay.
So our mission today really is to pull out the key insights about these systems, the services around them, using the info from the Island Ductless website.
Got it. Okay, let's start with the big promises. The website talks about increased comfort and discrete placement flexibility. Let's unpack that. How comfortable are we talking? Can it really handle, say, an older house evenly? And discrete. What does that actually look like on my wall?
Fair questions. So the comfort thing really comes down to zoning. You know, traditional systems often blast air, trying to force it everywhere. Sometimes it overshoots in one room just to get some heat to another.
Yeah, I know that feeling. One room's an oven, the other's an icebox.
Exactly. Ductless lets you control each zone or room independently. So you're only heating or cooling where you need it, when you need it. Much more precise.
Okay, precision and quietness. The source mentions ultra-quiet operation.
Yeah, that's a huge one. Compared to the rumble or whoosh of older furnaces or AC units, these are incredibly quiet. You barely notice they're on sometimes.
Nice. And the discrete part, the look.
Well, the indoor units are generally pretty sleek, usually mounted high on a wall. They're designed to kind of blend in, much more than, say, a big floor register or a clunky window AC unit.
Okay.
And the placement is flexible because you don't need ducts. So you can put them where they make the most sense for comfort and aesthetics. It ensures the entire home is comfortable, like the source says, even on cold days.
And they do both heating and cooling.
Yep. Provide comfort in every season. That's key. One system for year-round.
All right, so comfort's covered. But here's where it gets really interesting for a lot of people. The cost savings.
Right. The bottom line.
The source claims, what, save 40%, 60% on electric heating costs? That's a big number. How realistic is that?
It is a big number, and it's achievable. But let's break down why. The comparison point is usually electric resistance, think baseboard heaters, or an electric furnace.
Like a giant toaster, basically.
Pretty much, yeah. Very inefficient. 1 unit of electricity gives you 1 unit of heat. Heat pumps, though, they don't make heat, they move it.
Move it.
So in winter, they actually pull heat energy from the outside air, and yes, there's heat and cold air, and transfer it inside. In summer, they do the reverse. Pull heat from inside, dump it outside.
Like an air conditioner, but it can run backwards.
Essentially, yes. And because it's just moving heat, not generating it from scratch, it's incredibly efficient. You might get 3, 4, even 5 units of heat for every 1 unit of electricity you use. That's where those big savings come from.
Wow, okay. That makes more sense than just magic saving.
Right. Of course, the actual percentage, that 40, 60%, depends on things. Your home's insulation, the climate you're in, what system you were using before, the size of the ductless unit.
Sure, lots of variables. It's not just the pump itself, it's the whole house system.
Exactly. Optimizing the whole energy envelope gives the best results.
Okay, so we've got comfort, we've got potential savings, but this also touches on the bigger picture, right? The environmental side.
Absolutely. The source talks about saving the planet 1 heat pump at a time.
Okay.
It is. And the logic is sound. Because they use so much less electricity, especially compared to older electric systems or even fossil fuel heating, installing one significantly reduces your home's carbon footprint. It's an eco-friendly system.
Makes sense. Less energy used, less impact. But, fancy tech is only as good as the installation.
You read my mind. That's critical.
What do the sources say about ensuring quality? Because a bad install could wipe out all those benefits, right?
Absolutely. This is where premium heat pump installs comes in. The source emphasizes using high-quality equipment from top brands like Mitsubishi. That's a good start.
Okay, good equipment, but the people doing the work.
Right. The key here is customization and expertise. The systems need to be matched to your home's layout and heating and cooling needs. It's definitely not one size fits all.
So they need to know what they're doing.
Precisely. And the source mentions Island Douglas are elite diamond contractors with Mitsubishi. Now, that's not just marketing fluff. It means they've met specific, high standards set by Mitsubishi for installation quality and service.
Ah, okay. So it's like a certification of best practices.
Exactly. Following best practice guidelines for installation and service. This ensures the system runs efficiently, lasts longer, and actually delivers those promised savings and comfort levels. It's about protecting your investment.
That makes a big difference, knowing it's done right. Now, speaking of Island Douglas, our source material focuses on them specifically. What makes a local expert stand out here?
Well, the sources highlight their deep roots in the community. They specifically mention serving Whidbey Island and Fidalgo Island, listing towns like Anacortes, Clinton, Coopville, all the way to Oak Harbor.
So they know the area.
Right. And call themselves local heat pump experts and, importantly, neighbors. That often translates to a better understanding of local homes, maybe specific building styles or common issues here, and probably faster response times if you need service.
Yeah, being local accounts for service calls.
Definitely. And they offer full heat pump services. So it's not just install and disappear, it's installation repairs and routine annual maintenance. That suggests they're in it for the long haul with their customers, aiming for that trusted, award-winning service.
Okay, that full service approach is reassuring, but let's be real, these systems are an investment, a big one for many people.
True.
Does the source mention anything about making that easier, like financing or rebates? Because navigating that stuff can be a headache.
Yeah, they address that directly. They talk about support for rebates and flexible financing. And crucially, they say they help you access local rebates, secure flexible financing, and handle the paperwork.
Handling the paperwork, that's huge.
Isn't it? Because often the biggest hurdle isn't if there are rebates, but figuring out which ones you qualify for, filling out the forms correctly, meeting deadlines. It's complex.
Totally.
Yeah.
So having someone guide you through that or just do it for you, that removes a major stressor.
Exactly. It makes the whole upgrade feel much more achievable.
Okay, that's smart. But, digging through the source material, something else jumped out at me. They're not just doing heat pumps anymore.
Yes. That's a pretty interesting development.
Tell me about it. What else are they offering?
So the website says they're now offering licensed electrical and green energy services on Whidbey Island.
Yeah.
That's quite an expansion.
Wow, okay. So beyond HVAC.
Yeah. They're positioning themselves as a trusted local electrical contractor, doing general electrical work, but also specializing in energy-efficient home upgrades.
Like what specifically?
Well, they mentioned things like EV charger installations, which is becoming huge, obviously.
Definitely. More EVs on the road every day.
Right. Also, whole home surge protection, which is smart for protecting all our modern electronics. They mentioned backup generators, too, for power outages.
Which can happen, especially on islands.
For sure. And other green energy solutions. It sounds like they're moving towards being a one-stop shop for making your home not just comfortable, but also safe, resilient, and sustainable.
That's a really holistic view of home energy, integrating everything.
It seems that way. It reflects a broader trend, I think.
Okay, so we've talked theory, tech, service, even these new electrical offerings. But what do actual customers say? Does the real-world experience match the promises? The source has testimonials, right?
It does. The hear what our customers have to say section is pretty revealing. And yeah, the feedback seems to line up very well.
What are the main themes coming through?
Several things pop up repeatedly. First, professionalism and competence. People like Paula Brock mentioned a competent team, an efficient and informative process. James Tullison said the work was well done, on time, and efficient.
Good basics to cover.
Absolutely. Then there's a strong focus on excellent installation and follow-up. Jerry Lewis talked about fabulous installers and getting follow-up calls. Kevin Fallows called the team outstanding with excellent follow-up and even mentioned the training they gave was remarkable.
That follow-up is key. Shows they care after the check is cashed.
Exactly. And knowledge and communication get praised too. William Donahoe appreciated that the owner, David Gray, was very knowledgeable and answered all his questions well.
Good communication makes a huge difference with big projects.
For sure. And overall, people just seemed really happy. Louis Schellenberger was delighted with the whole process, noting the installers were efficient and very tidy.
Tidy installers. Always a bonus.
It really is. And importantly, people also specifically mentioned the Mitsubishi equipment itself being efficient and quiet, validating the hardware choice too.
So it sounds like the customer feedback really backs up the claims across the board. Quality work, good communication, reliable tech.
Yeah, the testimonials paint a consistent picture of a company delivering a positive experience from start to finish.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this all up. We've covered a lot of ground,
We have,
from the quiet comfort and the really impressive energy savings you can get with ductless heat pumps,
right, those 40–60% potential savings.
to the environmental benefits, reducing that carbon footprint. We talked about the importance of quality installation and using top-tier equipment.
And that local expertise, knowing the community and offering full service, including maintenance and repairs.
Plus that help navigating rebates and financing, which is a big deal. And then this expansion into electrical services, EV chargers, surge protection, generators.
Yeah, that broader vision for home energy.
And it's all kind of confirmed by what actual customers are saying. The positive feedback seems pretty strong.
It really does. What strikes me is how it all connects. The advanced technology, the commitment to doing it right locally, and this underlying push towards sustainability. It's not just selling a box. It seems to be about providing a complete solution for modern home comfort and efficiency.
A holistic approach, like you said.
Exactly. And if we think about that bigger picture,
Mhm.
balancing personal comfort with looking after the planet. And then you add in these newer electrical capabilities like EV charging. Kind of leads to a final thought, doesn't it?
Well, for you listening, it raises the question. How might you start integrating these different home technologies, efficient heating and cooling, maybe solar, maybe an EV charger, to build a home that's not just comfortable, but also more resilient, more efficient, and really more future-proof for yourself and maybe even your community? Something to think about.